Hi everyone, it's Susie from Pretty Deadly Self-Defense. In the last video I was talking about balance, and I feel like I got a little ahead of myself, ironically. I was talking about if you are pushed or if you fall, instead of trying to regain the balance you had just a couple of seconds ago, you want to be able to move forward into your new balance, whatever's coming next. Then I also talked about turning that into a roll or a break fall or even a forward lunge. And I realized that, after thinking about it, that turning it into a roll or a break fall or something else is actually adaptability. So taking a step back, at least in the process of finding balance, what I really want to focus on is simply just moving into a new balance. Where are you at this moment instead of trying to regain the balance you just had? I also said that that's a lot easier to do when you know where the center of balance in your own body is. So this is where we can go back to the idea of orienting yourself to yourself and using the geography of our own bodies to help us find the center. All of us have a chest, and all of us have breasts, man or woman, whether they're full or flat, it doesn't matter. In between your breasts, we all know where the center of that is the center meridian of your body. Moving down below the breasts, kind of from the top of the ribs, or rather the bottom of the ribs, to around the belly button, is the center called the hara in Japanese martial arts. This is not your center of gravity, but it can be a center of movement. I want to go a little bit deeper than that. And for this, we're going to have to stand up and physically find the center of gravity in our own bodies. Okay, so if you're watching this and you have a uterus, then this might be an easy thing for you to find if you've ever had cramps or if you've ever given birth. You know exactly where this center is. This is the physical center of our body. If you don't have a uterus, you still have a center. So the way that we can find that is take your thumb and place it on your belly button. Make sure that your fingers are close together, not spread out like this. And underneath, place your other hand. This is the center of your body. So if we put both hands here, we can kind of warm it up, move our hips around, and it doesn't really feel like much. It usually feels, the first time that you do it, like you're somewhat disconnected. So keeping our hands on the center, to find our center of balance, we can keep our feet together and kind of do that thing you did when you were a kid. Lean way forward, way back into the side and side, or better yet, move in a circle. Every time you feel this center tense, you're at your utmost point of balance. Obviously, if you go over, you'll take a step. So this is the limit of your balance in your body, or wherever that is for you. That's where my muscles around my center start to tense up. If I continue that movement a little smaller and a little smaller, I can reduce it to the exact center point of center of balance. The idea is to know where those boundaries are, because that helps us know how to move. When we move from center within ourselves, we also want to make sure that our head stays in line over our pelvis. So the center is basically the region within your pelvis here. The French word for pelvis is bassin, which is like basin, which is a nice way to think about it, because it's kind of, your pelvis is kind of a basin and your center is right in the middle. So keeping your hands on your center and thinking about keeping your head in line with that center. When we move in martial arts, we don't want to move with the head first to get out of the way of something. We want to move with the center. When the center moves, everything comes with. So if I move as an escape, I'm moving from center, as opposed to getting my head out of the way and letting my body follow. This is one of the ways that we can start to physically find our center. And once we find our center, then we can feel a little bit more in balance, or at least we always know where it is. Using our bodies to orient ourself to ourself. It's a little bit different for everybody. Whatever feels right for your body. Everyone has different flexibility, different senses of balance. It's okay, it really doesn't matter. It's really all about you. Self-defense in general is really all about you. So how do we relate all of that to the concept of orienting yourself to yourself? Remember in the first video I talked about, or the second video, I talked about an exercise that you can do at home. Standing on a street corner that you're familiar with, looking at an object that you normally use as a landmark to give you a sense of direction, and instead feeling what that feels like through your sensations. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? And underneath that, the feelings that you may have: happiness, nostalgia, anger, sadness. It's important to name those feelings. That's how we can let them go. In mythology, they say if you know the name of the dragon, then you control the dragon, and that's kind of how it works for feelings too. So if you are having trouble naming the feelings, then that's usually a good time to talk to a good friend or a trusted partner, or sometimes a therapist is the best person to help you identify that. Underneath those feelings, we have physical sensations. So I may be standing on a corner looking at the supermarket. I may be hearing sounds, feeling something inside of myself, happiness, let's say, and underneath that I feel warmth. Well, where is that warmth in relation to my geographical center, the center of my body? Am I in balance? Am I out of balance? How can I connect these two sensations and keep them connected as I move forward? This is the identifier that I want to look for when I'm learning how to orient myself to myself and use my own center of balance to navigate through the world. There's a couple of really great balance exercises. They're very easy to do and you don't need any equipment, that I've linked to in the description of this video on YouTube. One of them is for older people, but you can do them if you're younger as well. They're fantastic videos, just really about identifying and improving balance in the body. They're not videos that I made, they're made by sports therapists. I let the professionals do their job, I do my job, but I highly recommend watching them and going through those exercises if you need more help identifying where your center of balance is in your body. Then we'll talk about, maybe in our next video, how to adapt when our balance changes. If you're interested in these subjects and want to learn more, I'm happy to connect with you one-on-one in our morning Zoom chats. They're called morning coffee breaks at 11 a.m. Central European Time. The Zoom link is in the profile. See you on Zoom.